Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Shanna. I'm so glad you're here. Now, we are back at opening our crafty Advent calendar, and we've got day 19. So, we're just going to open it up and see what we've got. Well, it looks like we've got another stamp set that we're going to be working with today. And this stamp set says, "You make me smile. Rolling by to say hi. You are out of this world, and thanks." Now, the rolling by to say hi makes me wonder if we're going to get something in our kit that maybe will be rolling. And "you are out of this world" makes me think that maybe we're going to get some kind of a planet or astronaut or something like that. And then we have the thanks. So I'm just going to bring my Misty in, and I'm going to use the "You Make Me Smile." And I've got some of that light, chiffon cardstock from Spellbinders that I'm going to stamp this down on. We won't wind up using this because I think it is too light once we get our card together and everything. And I do have a little bit of trouble stamping it. I have just recently re-inked this Memento Black ink pad, and it's pretty juicy, and I have a real hard time getting a good clean stamp. But anyway, we're going to go with that for now, I think. And then we're just going to bring in our elements for our card. Now, I have gotten very creative with our set here. We're going to bring in our dog, and we are going to bring in one of the pieces from yesterday. And if you recall, I said this could be an umbrella. It's actually going to be a beach umbrella. So we're going to bring in our wand from our magic hat, and it is going to be the pole for our beach umbrella. As you recall, I had the mint tape holding the pieces together after I assembled them on yesterday's video. I'm just going to cut them away. I'm going to leave the tape on there to kind of hold my beach umbrella together. And we're going to use that magic wand to be the pole for our beach umbrella. I just thought this would be kind of fun. I just kind of had a cute idea. I'm not sure the card comes together from a color standpoint that well, but I think the concept is good. So it'll give you just an idea to use some of these things a little bit differently, and then you can choose whatever colors works for you. I was just working with the colors that I used yesterday, and then I tried to bring my dog in. He's got a pink tongue and a pink collar to kind of match it. And then I brought in some craft cardstock, and we're making like a beach scene. And I kind of made like just kind of an edge on the beach, so it wasn't just a plain straight, rectangle panel. And then I die cut out some blue waves from that die from yesterday, and we're going to create like a water scene. We're going to have like the beach and the water and a beach umbrella and our dog. And so that's what we're going to do on this card. I think the concept, like I said, I think is fun. Not sure that I nailed it on the colors of the card. So we'll get our blue laid down on here. And I'm just going to, kind of create some waves. And I'm going to have a couple of layers of the waves just to make them look a little bit more interesting. So we'll just layer this on top. And I'm just going to glue it up. I'm going to keep the card relatively flat other than just kind of gluing layers upon layers. I don't think I bring any foam tape in or anything like that. So I've kind of got the concept ready here. And I just need to kind of square it off and clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to bring in my big scissors, and we're just going to get to snipping on this. I started off with kind of a rectangle panel, and I'm going to try and keep it in that same shape. I'm just debating on how I'm going to do it, so I'm just trimming it up. And this is all real time. I did all of this in about 11 minutes. Of course, I had some of the objects from the previous day. And there, we just snip that off. So we've got our beachy area with our sand, and then we've got we're just on the water's edge with our umbrella, and we've got our dog. And our dog's going to be underneath the umbrella. And we have our "You Make Me Smile" sentiment there. Now I'm going to bring in a panel that I had in my stash, and I'm just going to trim this down so that it kind of fits inside of the frame that's on that panel. That panel's got like a nice little frame around it, and so I just trim that down so I can fit it in there. And I need to add a little bit of glue to my water. It was kind of lifting, so I'm going to put a little glue in there and give it a little press. And we're just going to make, it's going to be like a sunny day. That's the sun reflecting behind our sand, I guess. Actually, it was just a panel that I had, and I chose to use it. And I probably could have, brought in some different colors or whatever, but you can use whatever colors you want. And now we've got our little beach scene. I've got this blue piece, and I thought I could make a cloud of some sort with that, but I decided not to use it. We're going to get our umbrella position down on here. I'm still looking at that thinking, could that be a little blue cloud in the sky? And I think it could have. So I'll get it positioned. And we're just going to glue it straight down. I've got that mint tape on the back of it, just holding it all together so it's lined up nicely. And I'll just get plenty of glue on there, and we'll get it laid down on our panel. And I think it looks like a beach umbrella, and I think that wand is a pretty good pole for it. And then we've got our cute little dog. I've used some gray for the ears and the spots, and then the pink for the tongue. And he's, just as happy as can be. And I think that dog does make you smile. So we'll get him laid down here on the beach. He's under the umbrella. He's having the time of his life. And we've got this sentiment, and I'm still thinking I'm going to use it. I'll wind up changing it out. I've got some other elements here that I'm going to bring in. I've got a white panel. I thought we could just lay this panel that we've created down on a white panel and then just kind of layer it up. So I've got my card base. I've already scored or folded, and then I'm going to score it there and then lay this. This was a scrap piece, probably from yesterday's card. And I'm just going to lay it down on there to frame it out, and then we'll lay our white over the top of it. And then we'll get our little focal panel laid down on there. So I'm just getting it lined up on my card base. And then we're going to bring in this white, and we'll just layer it up. And then we're going to get our little scene laid down on there. So I just encourage you to look at your pieces in a lot of different ways and see how you might be able to use them to create, some different looking things so that you don't feel like you're kind of tied to just, how it's pictured or whatever. You can certainly do different things with it. So I'm going to lay my little scene down on here, and we're going to just glue it down. Like I said, I'm not going to add any dimension or anything like that. We're going to go super simple. I think it's a fun idea. And you could do some ink blending on your background panel and, blend the sky and then the sand and then put your little waves down and do it a little bit differently. Now here I went and took the darker pink, and I die cut out, or I stamped the sentiment, and I'm just trimming it with my trimmer. And I'm just kind of trimming it down because it's wider than what I want to use, and I think that's part of the reason why I'm not happy with it. But then I'll come up with a solution for that. We'll just cut it apart. And I think the darker color looks better because we've got that lighter color as the very base panel. And so it kind of pops off here a little bit. Now I'm still thinking, okay, I've got a different color, and I'm still fussing with it. I'm like, I just don't like it. And so then I just decide, cut it apart, Shanna, and then you can stack it and you might like it better. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll bring the trimmer back in, and we'll just cut it. You make, and then me smile, and we'll just stack them up there, and I'll be a little bit more happy with that. I wish they would have fit on that, the one that you got with the stamper, that base panel with the stamper. It would have been nice to stamp them on that, but it was too big to fit on that. So anyway, so I just stamped them on this, and I'm just going to go ahead and glue them up, lay them down. I thought for a minute about trimming them down a little bit thinner, and I might have liked that. Maybe I should have done that, but we're just going to get them laid down on here. We've got You Make Me Smile, and we've got a little beach scene with our little umbrella, our little wand, and our little waves. So I hope this provided a little bit of inspiration, and you guys can take and run with it and come up with something similar, or maybe you have some other ideas. So I'm going to put a couple of dots of glue on here, and we're going to bring in the sequins from a couple days ago, and we'll just lay some of those down on here just to add a little sparkle and to use them up. You can see I've got some extra dogs in there. While I had it out die cutting, I thought die cut out some more, and then if you decide to use them again, you can. So I just threw them in there. So that'll finish up our card, and I think it turned out super cute. And I just want to say I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in each day to watch. Here's my card, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye now.